It's the final matchup in the elimination round, green versus green. First, let's introduce our officials. First referee, Fernando Vilarte, national referee. And our second referee, James Oliver Mora, national referee. Now let's hear you cheer for the starters of the DLSU Ladies Spikers. Number 2, Captain Desiree Cheng. Number 5, Dex Clemente. Number 6, Michelle Cobb. Number 8, Jolina De La Cruz. Wearing jersey number 13, Aduke Ogunsanya. And number 15, Kim Thompson. For their libero, number 12, CJ Saga. And their head coach, Ramil De Jesus. And now for their opponents, the FEU Lady Tamaraw. Number 4, Heather Ginoo. Number 6, Ivana Agudo. Number 8, Jen Kayuna. Number 14, Zarina Karandan. Their captain, number 15, Jerily Malabanan. Number 18, Jeanette Villarreal. And number 5, their libero, Buding Duremdes. For their head coach, George Pasqua. It's the Archers versus the Lions.
Starters on your screens for LaSalle and then FEU right after.
We're looking at the same lineup, Boom, as these coaches have started in the past, and the familiar faces that we saw as well in their last game, just missing Laika Ebon on the FEU side, and on the DLSU side, we're adding back Desiree Cheng into the starting 6.
There was a chance that Laika Ebon would have played today or in the semifinals, as you know, we were talking to Sydney Crespo prior to the game. We're asking for updates and chatting with Laika Ebon. First of all, the good news is there's no more surgery. There's nothing like that. No more operations. She's going to go through rehab and physical therapy for all the FEU fans as FEU gets on the board here 1-0. But Coach George Pasqua asked her, if you're going to play, you better make sure that it's not just a physical thing, that mentally you're 100%, because syempre hindi ka na to, dulo na. So he needs her commitment mentally, and I think it was Laika who said that maybe mentally she's not there yet. Physically she can play, maybe not at 100%, but mentally she said she wasn't there yet. So the final decision was she's going to rest the rest of the season as you look at Laika Ebon. And I want to get your thoughts on that, Michelle, because you dealt with injuries. You've had a lot of teammates with injuries. Probably a better decision for her.
Of course, I understand Coach George's sentiment, because safety is your #1 priority. You don't want to risk your overall or your career
right,
just for a game or just for this season, because she is a rookie. She still has 4 more years with FEU, hopefully, and in the UAAP, and you don't want to risk that all in this game, especially na pasok na sila sa Final Four. Maybe, you know, we have 1 more week until the semifinals start. You never know if a miracle can happen within that week. Baka magbagong isip din ni Coach George. So we shall see, but I understand Coach George for her not playing in this game.
And I like the fact that he asked her to make the decision. Na parang, sige, your call. Can you play or not? 3-0 hot start for FEU here. And speaking of, let's get more from Sydney Crespo.
Yes, Boom and Michelle, there's one thing team captain Jerily Malabanan wants to change in today's game. That would be their intensity inside the court. Jerily has high respect for LaSalle's consistency during games. That's why she said that if they want to win today versus LaSalle, FEU needs to do the same. The team captain expressed their excitement, even though technically it's a non-bearing game for them because it's been 2 weeks since they last played here in the UAAP. talunin ng Lasal dahil sabi nga niya, ang huling beses daw na natalo niyang Lasal ay noong second year pa siya sa semifinals ng season 78. Boom and Michelle?
Oh, may mga ganyan yan, ano? May mga personal motivation yan. Meron nga mga players who have nag-graduate na hindi pa nanalo against a certain team. So, we can understand that, and Michelle is the best person to understand something like that. As FEU is on a roll here at the start, 5-0. And maagang palitan dito para kay Coach Ramil De Jesus. Ipapasok si May Luna for Desiree Cheng.
You know, Boom, ito yung nagkulang sa FEU in their last game versus UST. Yung gigil, yung paggalaw nila sa loob ng court, you see it now. It starts from the service of Jelka Yuna. They're checking the balls of DLSU, not necessarily a block point, but they're slowing down all the attacks and they're transitioning into their own counter-attacks.
First point of LaSalle, courtesy of a service error, as we check right back in with Ayana Pernas.
Boom and Michelle, in the last game versus the Lady Warriors, it was all eyes and cheers on UAAP first-timer and rookie Ina Hatulan as she gave the last 2 points of the match for the team to take home the win. Now, as we all know, Coach Ramil is known for his magic bunot, which worked once again for the team. Now, Ina Hatulan was part of the Baby Spikers, totally did not expect to be subbed into the most crucial part of the match where Yuri was catching up. The 19-year-old expressed to me that she has been longing to play for the Lady Spikers, which is why when she was called in, she had one simple mindset: to do anything and everything to get that win for her team, and that is exactly what she did. She mentioned to me that she felt nothing but blessed to be able to finally play for a champion team and the legendary coach. Now, just a request from Ina herself, she wanted me to give a big shout out to the Hatulan family who is present here at the Phil Oil. That's all for now. Back to you, Michelle.
Thank you. Sorry about that, Ayana. Good to have them here at the Phil Oil Flying V Center. And the moral of the story there, as Tiamzon unable to put it away. FEU still with the ball here. Malabanan. Long rally. Longest so far the first set. Left-handed for Tiamzon. Karandang in the middle. No, it's back. Kayuna reverses to Malabanan. And that is an FEU point. I was going to say, Michelle, the moral of the story of the report of Ayana is to always stay ready. Anytime you might play.
Doesn't matter if you haven't seen that much action in the whole season. When your coach thinks that it's time for you to get in there, you have to do your best because you never know. This can be the start of your UAAP career, so you always have to be ready. And syempre for the second stringers, sometimes they think that it's only in training that they see volleyball action. But, you know, our coaches, they know when to mix in players, when to put in players, and when he has to gamble with his bench and with his second stringers.
Especially with a coach like him who's seen and done everything in the UAAP. Pero ang ganda ng point mo na yun, sinabi mo, as we are now at 3, serving 6. That sometimes that one game na mapasok ka, rotation error for FEU. So that's an automatic point for DLSU. Yung one game na minsan mapasok ka, parang minsan nagiging watershed moment for you na you become more confident, you be given more court time, playing time, and then eventually, you know, you become part of the regular rotation. There have been sequences na nangyari yun in the past in other schools. Ano?
And you never know how that game can affect you, Boom. You know, I still remember the first ever time I saw long action in the UAAP back in season 72 when I first suited up for DLSU. It was the championship game. We were actually losing against UST, and I remember that game vividly. Natalo kami, but you know, I think that game was really the one that molded me into the player I am today. Yung pagkatalo na yun, sabi ko, ayoko na ma-feel yun ever. So kailangan magtrabaho, kailangan magsipag.
And eventually you became, you know, in the regular rotation and won multiple championships. The FEU playing hard here. 7-4 is the score. Jolina is checked at the net. First technical timeout. And this is a complete opposite of what we saw FEU against UST. They're ahead by 4. We will be back. Back inside the Phil Oil Flying V Center, the final game of the elimination round of the UAAP Women's Volleyball Tournament. Pajibar Obar Sasaya, number 9 scorer of the league with the block there. As we said, the numbers don't lie. 155 points so far in the year for her. Top scoring for FEU. Her best season. Her last season. Heather Ginoo. 8-4 is the score. Well, let's talk about this match. Michelle, what are you seeing right now? You mentioned how sharp FEU is starting. Very different from that USD match. What are you seeing from LaSalle?
We all know that DLSU can serve well. They are one of the top serving teams in this season, but it's their reception right now that is giving them a hard time to be able to attack. FEU is doing a very good job getting those sharp serves across. And you know, they're not spiking hard right now. They're not blocking, but they're checking all the balls. Yung mga bola ng FEU ngayon, boom, it's simple but effective. It's getting them on the scoreboard 1 point at a time ahead of DLSU.
Right now, it's a 5-point lead, the biggest lead of the set. Luna from behind. Carandang gets it. Villarreal in the middle. That's a score for De La Salle. Tiamzon able to get that one. Desjek will return for May Luna. The rookie will serve for Coach Ramil De Jesus. Looking for a 4th straight championship. Cayuna to Ginoo. Low, says referee Fernando. George Pascua says no, disagrees. Oliver Mora did not make a call, but it was our first referee who made that call, and he said it was a net block.
Touched the net first, rather than the hands of the DLSU blockers. FEU doing a great job still, receiving, digging, and Jel Cayuna is gambling with her middles right now. And yun yung kakaiba bume, na nawawala sa blocking timing itong team ng DLSU because Jel Cayuna is really distributing the ball well.
3-1 run. So Coach George calls a timeout.
So i-divide nyo lang yan sa tatlo, walang babagsak na bola dyan. Iwanag. Ngayon, magsaservice si Kalaban. Kailangan sa receive pa lang, dominante na tayo. Kung tayo titinaw sa service receive, yan naman ang inusahin natin, di ba? Hindi yan. So kayo ang tatarget dyan, opposite outside, ready kayo sa bola. And then do the combination tayo. Pakagatin muna sa quick. Pag hindi mo nakita sa quick, walang sumabay bigay. Pag na meron, ibig sa rest. Okay, FEU.
9-7. It's a quick 3-1 run after the technical timeout at 8-4. Biggest lead was 9-4. LaSalle seems to be settling in here in this match. Alabanan misreceiving. And the strength of LaSalle of serving coming into play here with Jolina De La Cruz with a couple of service aces here. She continues to serve for LaSalle. Still a little faulty. Cayuna picked up by Tiamzon at the net. 9-all is our score. That's a 5-1 run now by DLSU. And it's all coming from, well, not all, but mostly it's from those loaded serves.
She is the 5th in the UAAP in terms of best servers, and you have to credit that run by DLSU with the service of Jolina De La Cruz, which she continuously gives FEU a hard time.
As we speak, Jolina De La Cruz has 20 service aces for the season. And DLSU continues its role, taking over the lead from 4-8 now at 10-9. Another good serve. Her 21st ace.
Unstoppable.
Speaking of consistency that we mentioned in the pregame, a while ago, now you see Julina De La Cruz consistent in her services. Not only is she putting that ball across, but she's also treating it as another attack for her team.
Another ace. 4 points on 4 aces for the rookie. And all of those aces belong to her. 12-9. Sorry, Michelle, go ahead.
She's targeting Malabanan and Heather Ginoo on the other side of the court, really putting pressure on that side. She knows that there are only a few spikers, only 3 spikers in front, and Ginoo is one of them. So pinapahirapan talaga niya na hindi maka-atake si Heather Ginoo.
Cheng from the behind. Duremdes. That's out. So the run continues. 9-1. Again, we're talking about since the technical timeout. The technical timeout was at 8-4. And LaSalle looked a little disorganized at the early goings of the match, but have now calmed down and have used their #1 weapon, which is their serve. And that one is long for Julina. So her run at the service deck will end as Negrito and Roquillo will check in here for FEU.
Kyle Negrito
And going out will be Abudo
Roquillo in the game.
Kayuna. So obviously the graduating Kyle Negrito will be the setter and server right now.
Coach George wants to ensure a full front line right now for FEU, not taking any chances with his setter up in front against Tin Tiamzon.
Tiamzon.
That's a check.
It's a check
for
ball.
Thompson.
We're looking at the referees. The referees were looking at the linesmen. That's why we needed to confirm before we officially announce that it is a LaSalle point, 14-10.
Sometimes, Boom, you can confirm the call based on the faces, you know, the reaction. FEU, nobody on FEU contesting that block touch. They knew it, even though the linesmen at the back said it was an outside ball. But our referees being on top of the net and over here by the net, seeing definitely that block touch.
MVP, champion, former player slash photographer, Yana D is in attendance here inside the Philoil Flies the center. And the one and done player, Des Clemente, able to give them a 6-point lead at the second technical timeout. It is 16-10. We're watching the UAAP right here on SNA. 2 players, double Des, who are actually ending their careers also this year. Des, of course, her full 5 years, and Cheng, that is, Des Clemente, is a one-and-done player. This is the numbers from the UE matchup. Tiamzon now serving. Before that, it was a 12-2 run.
When Clemente actually started, Boom, her career in the UAAP, a lot of questions.
Right.
A lot of people were asking, why did she transfer from the NCAA? She had a very rocky start as well, but she's finishing the elimination round right now, averaging more than 5 points, just as well as Des Cheng. They tied in that last game versus UE with 8 points. Des Clemente is actually now number 7 in the blocking department in the UAAP. So for me, she made the right decision, and she's having another tool under her belt, and in order to play in that professional career which comes after the UAAP.
And you saw that the first matchup was against Ateneo. It was a big venue, big crowd right away, and she looked nervous, Michelle, and rightfully so. Di naman sanay sa UAAP. Ateneo Lasal kaagad yung unang laro. She was the starter. Coach Ramil took her off of the playing court, and eventually midway through the season her nerves started to calm down, and has now been delivering for Coach Ramil as Duremdes with the get. Ronquillo sends it to the other side. Tiamzon, double contact on her. And FEU starting a comeback here from 16-11 down. 3-0 run for the Lady Tamaraos, and they're only down 2 now, so Coach Romil will call a timeout.
Timeout, Lady Spikers.
Talon. Out of timing yung block natin. Talon lang tayo ng talon. Wala sa timing yung talon natin eh. Pag mag-block. Kaya nakauna tayong tumabot ng bola eh. Wala pa yun. Wala pang approach yung spiker yun na binabantayan eh. Di ba kaya dumudulas eh. Wala sa timing. Tao mo yung bantayan mo. Then yung atake mo, direksyon lang eh. Di ba? Walang lagyan mo ng direksyon paro mo. Hindi paro puro power lang. Pag di natin kaya percent, block tayo pagkatapos. Okay, go!
Joined now by Kim Fajardo, Kiana D. Having fun here at the sidelines. Getting the best seat in the house too. Front row. As their school is ahead, but only by 2. 16-14. Make that 16-15. How is this comeback happening for FEU, Michelle? What has changed?
Heather Guinoo is starting that with her service, but you have to credit that start to Doremdes as well, who is doing very well digging those balls coming from the attacks of DLSU. She is number 30 in this season, so you really see her eagerness right now to keep that ball alive and to help her teammates score a point.
Nice dig there. But it's in the hands of Negrito, who goes to Ronquillo. She hesitated on the set. It's George Pascua recognizing it. Dalawang isip. So the point goes to LaSalle, 17-15. Clemente serving now. Alabanan. Cobb will pump it to Cheng. And Net Villarreal, I believe, with some hang time, enough to get that block point, that kill block.
FEU actually really getting those block touches, block points in this first set. Yung run na to, even in their first run at the start of the set earlier, you credit that to their block touches and their block points because they're slowing down the attack. They're limiting the attackers of DLSU.
Service specialist Carly Hernandez back. Actually, first time to show up here. Duque with the run and gun. Something that she loves to do and something that she wants to do more consistently and more efficiently. As they go into the semifinals, we just don't know whether they will be the number 2 seed just yet. Hernandez receiving. Alabana. Tiamzon was there to dig. De La Cruz sends it over. Ronquillo, Negrito, sure this time to Malabanan with the push. Cobb will go back row. That's out for Tim Tiamzon. A 1-point lead for DLSU. The rookie Franz Ronquillo now. Very good first set in front of a great crowd here at the Philoy Flying V Center. Cheng on the other side. Access denied, and we're tied once again.
Blocking is working very well for Carandang, for Heather Guinoo as well. Negrito is being kept in front. Now Coach George is sticking with 2 spikers in the front row. Kyle Negrito still there. Ronquillo still serving. We don't see Jel Cayuna coming in or Agudo coming in.
Back-to-back blocks. Darina Carandang.
Michelle, we are on an 8-2 run for FEU, answering the 12-2 run of LaSalle earlier, and FEU is back in the lead, 19-18. Quillo sails out. Agudo and Cayuna will march back in as the game is tied at 19-all. This is for the fans of FEU though, Michelle. This is a great sign that they actually want to win this match. They're competing this one, unlike the UST one that Coach George Pasco said that they felt like they gave that win. And all credit to UST because UST was also very sharp in that match. Pero parang hindi raw sila nag-compete according to the coach. But this time, they're going toe-to-toe with the defending champions.
If you're FEU, you don't want to be complacent with just entering the semifinals. You want to make a statement and tell the team right now, DLSU, that we're in it to win it. And you know, if you're DLSU, boom, you're going against UST in the semifinals. You also want a good match right now with FEU to also know what you're lacking, to build on your strength, to identify your weaknesses. You know, this is the game wherein both teams can experiment, can study themselves more, and build maturity.
Correct some mistakes, you know? For FEU, they need to be sharp because they're going to be the number 4 team. They'll need to beat the number 1 team twice. So they really need to start to be sharp ngayon pa lamang. Good coverage there by Karandang. Linipat sa kabila kay Agudo. Great decision there by Kayuda to send it to the other side for the reverse set. 21-20 is our score.
Best time for Agudo, Ivana Agudo, to score that point. Boom, she did not score in that last game versus UST. And in the first matchup between LaSalle and FEU, she did not see any playing time. So the small points, no matter how much they are, it really helps your team when it's perfectly timed.
Kayuna opens up to Ginoo. Ginoo scores.
Ginoo.
2-point lead. Coach Ramil will call a timeout.
Hindi naman makapatay sa boxer. Hindi mo na patay na yan. Ang gusto natin kasi paluin eh. Hindi makapatay ang hanap natin. Gusto natin ilakas eh. Hindi, mahirap. Aggressive yung kalaban nyo. Aggressive. Kailangan nakabantay lahat yan. Nakabantay lahat sa kanya-kanyang pwesto. Mga pwesto tayo eh. Ang kailangan lang lance eh. Hindi mo pwede. Pag nabasa yung gagawin mo, double block lang. Okay, hindi yan. Malayo to. Pinabayaan yung kapitan natin to. Okay, aggressive lang eh.
Coach Ramil going up against his good friend and former teammate, si Coach George Pasqua. Were once teammates at least for a year back in FEU. Both of them, of course, their roots from the FEU program. As De La Cruz is checked there, but it goes back to FEU, and now it's back to LaSalle. Tiamzon goes cross court. You know, asking for it. Medyo dikit sa net. Clemente. And a chance ball for FEU. Karandang, Kayuna, kay Villarreal, binigay sa gitna. It's still alive, and it will crawl into the FEU side. Back set. Agudo unable to put it away. De La Cruz down the line. Great dig there by Malabanan. Off speed by Ginoo. De La Cruz will try again. Longest rally of the first set. The bump to Heather. It's on the green side now. De La Cruz again on cross court, and it's out, says the linesman.
Long rallies right now, boom, to close out. And this is just the first set.
Yeah, this looks like a championship game. You know, remember they were the contenders for the crown last year. High level quality that we're getting right now. Dikit, but it's still alive. Ginoo will try on her side. Good coverage. Good reaction by Clemente, but according to Oliver Mora, she scraped the net.
Net violation called on Des Clemente when she clipped her hands.
Kaliwang kamay.
The fingers touching the white tape of the net. You know, sometimes you don't realize it. And
yes.
pag yung adrenaline mo nandyan, hindi mo talaga nararamdaman.
We are at set point, and LaSalle saves that first one. I like that. You and I talked about that before. As Coach George Pasco will call a timeout. Sometimes in the heat of the moment and your movement, hindi mo napapansin yung mga maliliit na scrapes sa net.
Pass tayo. Dito
second-year head coach for the women's team, George Pascua, after spending 11 years as the men's coach. 4 championships under his belt. A three-peat also is something he experienced as a coach. Then took a break from the UAAP and said he's not going to return in the UAAP if it's not for FEU. And he did, but on the women's side. And now he has his team at set point. As De La Cruz, though, says, Teka muna, I served very well earlier.
And you know what, Boom? Yung run na yon kanina, credit that to Julina De La Cruz. So if you're FEU right now, you want to make a 1-point stop. You don't want a deuce with DLSU, especially with De La Cruz up in the service area.
6 service aces for LaSalle, but 5 for her.
Set 1.
And a service error, though. That's her second service error. Parehong long yung kanina rin, ano? To stop her own run. That one was crucial because that one gives FEU the first set. Bill Oil Flying V Arena is where we're at. Please come back for set number 2.